When is the last time you had sex? Probably more recent than most of us. Why has it been so long since I have had sex, and why do I not have sex and won't be having sex for a very long time? You think about the power of sex, it's really an energy. And so when we're having sexual intercourse, sexual interactions with people, we're exchanging our energy with one another. That energy is really strong enough to create a child, literally. When I think about sex and the amount of energy that I'm giving and receiving, I think about who I want to have sex with. Do I want to be having sex with people I don't know their energetical state, their emotional state, their spiritual state? Then not only are you exchanging energy, but you're also exchanging a lot in the physical as well. We're getting a lot of that microbiome of another person's body. We're getting a lot of their bacteria. You're having sex with a person that doesn't eat too healthy or has a bad diet, or if they're a little bit sickly, you're actually exchanging this bacteria with them and bringing that into your body. Outside of just sharing energy and sharing health, sex has a lot to do with our sacral energy, our creative energy, our willpower, our strength. A lot of the times when you have a very creative person, a lot of this energy that they're getting it from is through their sexual energy. It's the energy of creation. And the more you give it out, the more you use it, not the less you have, but the less control you have over it. It's one of the most powerful forms of energy, to the point where it can control your mental state. So I'm just going to get into why I chose to not have sex, the power of sex, and the power of not having it. There's so many examples of sex in our society that's corrupted, especially for women, through pornography, where this vision of sex is very dominant and controlling and lustful. And it really takes out the sacredness and the art and the spiritual aspect of sex. Especially with the way that sex is done in pornography, it gives a false sense of the reality and the importance of sex. Nowadays, I see sex as a sacred practice, not only a practice to create another life, but also a sacred practice of healing and love. There's a lot of books that talk about sexual transmutation, where basically for a long period of time you don't have sex, to a point where you're finally able to harness this additional source of energy, this strong desire within you, and putting that into another art form. Growing up, my image of sex was actually very much destroyed and corrupted. I actually grew up super Christian, so I was basically raised to be scared of sex. I thought sex was nasty and wrong, and I thought that I wanted to wait until I got married to even think about doing anything. And throughout my life, that belief system of that religion, it actually made me scared to even be naked in front of people. And honestly, that religion just has a lot of hate going throughout it, with these rules and regulations that don't even pertain to their book. It's just like this additional belief system and lies that people throughout the years implement into this religion outside of the book that the religions are following. So as I was growing up, I actually didn't even have sex until I got about 19. And so then when I was 19, that's when I actually began masturbating and having sex with women. And so after the first time that I had sex with a woman, it was like very different for me, because it was very interesting, because it was something that I was scared to do, I felt weird doing, but I wanted to do. And so actually, I guess after all of that repression of thinking that it's wrong, thinking that it's bad, and having this false image of what sex is, it finally burst. And so I went down a path of lust. And so I was always wanting to have these sexual interactions with women, to a point where it would overcome me, overcome my thoughts. So this lustful energy started to become very negative. So it was already negative before from my belief systems. And then once I did it, it overtook me in a different way, in a different belief system, that I thought I just had to have it. It controlled the things that I did for people, controlled like what I wanted to do. The person that I wanted to be with was in complete complete control over me because of lust. Like my life was basically given over to lust, and I wanted to do it every single day. So, you know, you wake up, think about sex, go to sleep, think about sex, and it's just like it wasn't healthy. And so I understand that loving our body and loving each other, it's very sacred and it's very in touch with source, in touch with where we came from. But the way that society is using it, is using this energy, is actually tormenting us and is detrimental to our health in spiritual, physical, and mental. So once I realized that lust was literally controlling my life, it was the reason why I stayed in certain relationships, it was the reason why I just operated. And it totally threw out all of my goals and aspirations, the spiritual side of myself, and I wasn't able to I wasn't in control. After I got out of this relationship about a little over a year ago, I realized that this is just too much, and the only way that I'm going to have more embodiment, feel in my body, and reach a state of mental awareness and spiritual awareness is if I control what's very hard to control. And it wasn't so much that I was even doing anything action. I wasn't even having much sex actually. It was more of like that energy and that lust was overtaking my mind to the point where I always wanted to. So I was always thinking about it throughout the day. I could be doing anything, always on my mind. And I guess when I wasn't having sex, it actually made it worse. So after it ended, I decided I don't want to have sex anymore, and I don't want to masturbate because I want to gain control over myself the same way I did before I had sex, but in a more positive and loving light. When you're having sex with people, you're forming a bond, you're forming a relationship, and you're forming these energetic ties with each other. You're opening your heart to each other, and to operate in a way where it's just hit and run and things like that, it just doesn't make sense energetically because you're tied to this person once you're doing something with them. So you could either have it negative and ghost-like, or you can have it be positive and loving. So it's not to say that being promiscuous or polyamorous is a bad thing, it's just how you're going about it. And so for me now, I don't want to have sex with anyone. I want to protect my energy and use it for this channel, my other content creations, the stories that I'm writing, the parables that I'm writing. I want to keep that energy pure, and I want to keep it for creation of this intuitive wisdom that I get so I can take it out of me. I also don't want to have sex until I find someone that I'm okay with sharing this energetic bond with, so that we can move in sacredness together. I'm practicing sacred sex. People practice it in different ways where they can have multiple partners and multiple people that they're having sex with, and they can be very loving and gentle and even cuddle with these people, and they could even be their friends, and that makes sense. But the path that I'm taking is just that most likely going to be the next person that I'm in a relationship with. So the benefits that I have from not having sex in over a year is that I feel a lot more energized. Before, I was very fatigued. I thought it was all these different issues, but I stopped having sex and I got a lot of my energy back. A lot of it came back into me because I was holding it in instead of taking it out. I feel a lot more confident. It gave me a lot of time to self-reflect and think about who I want to be. And it also gave me a lot of energy and a lot of power to see where my flaws are in communication and in life. And it also helped me to be more in my body. So almost like your physical senses, I feel like a lot of people are maybe desensitized to just how they feel in their body, but I feel more embodiment throughout any organs, but also my sexual organs. So I feel like more embodied that way, but I also feel a lot more confident now that I'm not full of lust and all of these things. Like, I feel stronger, I feel confident, I have more energy, and I also feel more in control of myself, more disciplined. So I want to save my sacred energy for sacred tasks like creation of stories, creation of things that I'm sharing, and also for my sacred person that's coming to me. And I want it to be from a place of lust, but I want it to be from a place of like literally making love with our spirits and with our souls, with meditation involved and different things like that. What's your view on sex? What's your view? How long has it been since you have had sex? That is why I haven't had sex in over a year, and I'm most likely not going to be having sex for maybe even another year. And I'm going to be doing these celibate breaks all throughout my life, where I go maybe 6 months, 8 months, a year, even more at random parts of my life whenever I want to dive deep into myself or dive deep into a learning or practice or discipline, or just to clear the energy, clear the space. Really get rid of all those other energies and only feel my own. If you like this video, let me know what you think. Comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Peace.